Ethan Klein has sprung a copyright trap against some reaction channels which reacted to his content nuke of Hassan Piker. But will it work? We're going to get into it today. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney living in Asia, and this is the Legal Mindset, where we teach you to be your own judge. So let's get right into it. This is a really fascinating issue because it really brings up issue of copyright at large and how it's enforced on the internet on all platforms. This can have massive ramifications across really every single major streaming platform, whether YouTube, Twitch, etc. All of them have so many reaction channels, and this is a potential to affect really all of them, despite the fact it seems like it's targeted at just 3 people. So what's going on? Well, Ethan Klein recorded a content nuke of Hassan Piker in an ongoing feud between the two. Now, today, we're not going to get into, the personal dynamics and all the subjective stuff of Ethan versus Hassan, etc. We're going to focus on the objective law and the bigger, broader issues at stake here. So with that content nuke, many people who did not like Ethan Klein went and reacted to his video. And some people did add very substantial, very lengthy commentary to that, but others were, it appears, simply restreaming that content in order to prevent the views from coming to Ethan Klein. So in response to that, it turns out that Ethan Klein actually registered his copyright of that content nuke and is now suing 3 creators. And this is a really, really big deal because these reaction channels, while they're small in comparison, right? While they're small in comparison to Ethan and other very large channels, it can set a precedent which can echo across other creators and all platforms, really. And what's at stake is the definition of what is transformative, what you can do to react to a video. Now, there have been several cases which have gone different ways. There have been cases where people have just re-uploaded videos and that hasn't worked, but there also are different cases where people have taken a video and clipped it and added a different title, a different thumbnail, and courts have said, hey, that's okay. And really, what are they looking at? What are they looking at is it a substitute? Are you substituting one for the other? And that's the real core of the question here today. Are these reaction channels, are these people reacting to Ethan, are these substitutes for Ethan's content? And beyond that, it appears that there may even be malice on the part of many of these parties who literally intended it to be a substitute to Ethan's content, to his copyright protected content. And that is a top issue. Now, Ethan did say one thing, which I need to clear up because there needs to be some baseline about what copyright is and what's going on with copyright. So let's listen to Ethan here talking about him registering that copyright, and I'll explain things as we go.
One thing about copyright you should know is that you got to register it before you publish to be eligible for statutory damages and attorney's fees, which is the main biting force of a copyright infringement lawsuit. Well, I'm happy to tell you guys now, I, Ethan Klein, have registered Hassan Piker content nuke with the United States Library of Congress. Some of you guys out there sweating. One thing about copyright.
So that's a really interesting fact. So one thing to clear up is you do have copyright protection as soon as you create a work. So if you create a piece of art, a book, etc., you have copyright protection. However, what Ethan is talking about is a prerequisite to suing. So even if you have already created something, you have protections that exist automatically as a requirement to sue, and especially to get those damages, yes, you're going to need to go through the registration process. So that's what he's speaking about here in terms of those damages. So while many people say that's not right, copyright's automatic, well, no, what he's saying is correct, but he doesn't fill in the blanks with the fact that, you indeed have copyright as soon as you create something. And mind you, there are exceptions to that. For example, live broadcasts. Live broadcasts are an exception to the copyright rule for registration. So while there are holes in that and there are some exceptions, Ethan is generally right here. And what he did was he registered this copyright beforehand in order to later enforce that because he knew people were going to react to that. Now, some people have said this is a trap. They call him the Admiral Akbar. It's a trap. But really, the law doesn't care whether or not you set it up that way, because frankly, in the eyes of the law, you're just planning to enforce your copyright. If you knew somebody was going to steal something from you and you took a measure to protect yourself, that's not a trap. That's like calling a house alarm a trap against burglars because it calls the police automatically. That's not really what happens here, and that's not really a defense. And frankly, I think one of the biggest issues here is that all of these channels were making it very, very clear that you should watch them instead of Ethan. Now, the one thing to be really concerned about, and the problem I see coming out of this if Ethan does prevail, is the chilling effect. That is, the other channels that are going to be scared to do reaction content because of this. And beyond that, platforms may aggressively enforce against reaction channels. So there could be a massive movement, a massive wipe of reaction channels at large. And this could be really dangerous because it has the potential of a slippery slope of going too far. At what point is it transformative? Now, his argument is, well, if you get up out of your chair for, half of the stream or a significant portion of the stream, that's not transformative. Well, how much do you have to comment on? Is it 10%? Is it 20%? Is it 50%? Is it 75%? That's really a hard thing to judge. And a judge in these cases is doing it case by case, point by point. Now, I think Ethan does have a chance to prevail against these three creators, particularly because of the egregious things they said. Now, we're not going to get into this on the fast facts version. This is, of course, the quick and dirty version of my analysis. But if you watch my live on this, we're going to watch the entire video, the entire 20 minutes, which goes into what these creators did and how they went through their analysis. But safe to say that most of them did not do deep, lengthy, in-depth analysis. They mostly just sat there, watched, made a couple noises, grunts. Some of them were appearing to take bong hits during this, or, smoking something during it. While that might, in the eyes of some, be quote unquote transforming it in a way, whether a judge thinks that's changing it to something different that is not a substitute is the real question. And I think here Ethan has a very, very, very strong case to say, yeah, that's not a major transformation. You're not adding anything educational, entertaining, etc. It's really just you sitting there and trying to filter off his views. But what do you guys think in this? Once again, do you think this is something that might go Ethan's way? Do you think it's something that might go the way of the reaction channels? And do you guys enjoy reaction channels? Because I know some people think that they're content leeches. Some people think that the reaction channels are useless. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one.